Toastmasters and dear guests. Hope you had a good day today.
Yes.
And there's some amazing weather outside. Wonderful rain, wonderful weather. Great. So I'm really happy to see all of you here tonight. And this reminds me, in 1989, a sociologist from US by name Ray Uhlengold, he said he coined a phrase called third place. Right? So first place is your home, second place is your office, and third place is these communities. Right? So what is he talking about? Communities is where a group of like-minded people come together to support each other to a specific goal. Okay? It can be any background, all kinds of background, different ages, status, doesn't matter. It's one floor common for everyone, for one purpose, to support each other in one goal. Toastmasters is one such community. In 1924, Ralph Smetry started this initiative of Toastmasters because he noticed that people would, at this time, it was a time of Dale Carnegie, right, where they would pay thousands of dollars for one speech session. So he was like, you know what, we need to make this something that everyone should learn without such a big cost. And so he built this safe space for communication, which has gone over 100 countries and 1,000 plus clubs all over the world. And given that it's a safe space, I request all of you to not get into any controversial topics. Okay, no politics, sex, or religion. And let us keep it. And the reason is simple. I mean, it's a democratic country, you can talk about it, but it distracts us from our main goal, which is communication. Focusing on how to improve your communication. On that note, do not keep your phone active and do not walk around which might distract the speaker. Only if somebody is clapping, then you can move around. So on that note, can we get started?
Yes.
Are we ready?
Yes.
Alright. The person I'm going to introduce next is a very diligent, very hard-working person. In fact, in the whole year, this year, she might have missed just one meeting, but like 95% plus, she's there every meeting. She's always available, giving us support. She also takes her work seriously. One time she prepared for a picnic for over 2 weeks. It's never happened. As a kid, she would play around with snakes and pythons in the school, which is probably why she loves Jurassic Park. And most of all, she is extremely kind-hearted and a very sweet person. In fact, I will challenge you guys. If you come on stage and you feel the stage fear, you feel like, I cannot speak, all I have to do is just look at her beautiful smile and just relax. You're like the top of the world. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the president of the legendary Bangalore Toastmasters Club, Amrith Kaur.
Thank you, Toastmaster Srinidhi, for that wonderful introduction. I didn't know that relationship between snakes and pythons and Jurassic Park. Thank you for connecting the dots for me. Good evening, Toastmasters and dear guests.
Good evening.
Good evening.
How are you doing today? Top of the world. Great. I am sure that you're enjoying the weather and no, Karanaka. Okay, see, whatever I say, he will say no. So I will say it as a yes. Let me just first of all go ahead and call to order meeting number 1531. So Bangalore is at its best. It's known for its pleasant weather and chock-a-block roads, and we all braved the weather and the roads and are here. So welcome once again for reaching before 6:30 and making the meeting happen. Thank you, everyone. Before we start, I would like to invite our standing Secretary, Toastmaster Govind, please read out the minutes of previous meeting. Please give it to
Good evening, Toastmasters and dear guests.
Good evening.
Meeting number 1530 started at 6:29 p.m. The theme of the meeting was a bond with the nature, and the word of the day was symbiotic, which means mutual benefit between the different individuals. The meeting was attended by altogether 44 people, out of which 32 were members and 12 guests. The best speaker award went to Toastmaster Ankit, and the best evaluator went to DTM Rajiv Manwani. The best auxiliary role taker award went to Toastmaster Nimisha, and best role taker award went to DTM Pavas Chandra. Best ever topic speaker award went to DTM Shashank Bhatt. The meeting ended at 8:39 p.m. The meeting conducted successfully with energetic participation, valuable speeches, and feedbacks. These minutes are respectfully submitted for the record. Thank you. Over to you.
Does the meeting stand fast? Any comments? The minutes stand fast. Thank you for correcting. Thank you. I love this point when the secretary comes on stage and the entire previous meeting runs in front of your eyes when the names are called out. Thank you so much. Now I can see a few new faces in the crowd. May I request all the guests to please rise? Please. Thank you everyone. Thank you for joining today, and members, how do we welcome our guests? You enjoy the meeting. You are part of the legendary Bangalore Toastmasters Club, which is one of the oldest and largest club in India. Thank you. Please take your seats. To my current executive committee, may I request you to please stand? Okay, so guests, this is the current executive committee. If you have any questions regarding Toastmasters, you can reach out to them during the break or after the meeting. Thank you. So today we have a special session which is about tall tales. And I have a story to share with all of you. Once upon a time, there was only the sky world. The world above the sky. The sky world had a huge tree of life. One day, a sky woman was walking around the tree of life when suddenly a hole appeared under her feet and she fell over it. To save herself from that fall, she tried to reach out to the tree of life. But she could only reach a tiny branch, which snapped as she fell. And she fell into that hole. For a very long time, she kept falling from that hole, and she could only see dark waters. But in that water, there were many animals who were looking at her at the sudden beam of light. As she came closer, they could make out that there is a woman who is falling. In the water, there were many swans. They all looked at each other and they started flying together. They all flew and they all gathered under the woman. They broke the woman's fall, and the woman sat very comfortably on the swan's feathers. The swans together brought her down. But they could not hold her above water for very long. So a huge, colossal size turtle came forward and offered her back for the woman to sit on. The woman stepped on her back and sat comfortably. By that time, all the animals had discovered that the woman cannot live with them in the water. So they have to do something. They called a council meeting, an executive meeting, and in the meeting they all discussed how to help the woman. Some of the executive committee members, they had heard that deep down below in the water, there is mud. And they thought, we can bring some mud for the woman so she can build her home. So many animals volunteered and they started one by one diving down into the water. But they all were unsuccessful because the water was really dark and deep. They all came back exhausted and gasping for air. Finally, a tiny rat offered her help. She dove into the water, but for many days she did not come back. Everyone was afraid for her life. But after many days, finally, the rat appeared on the water surface and everybody noticed that she had small mud clenched in her feet. She offered the mud to the woman, and the turtle asked the woman to spread that mud on her shell. The woman started spreading the mud across the turtle's shell. And after that, she was really thankful to everyone. She started singing and dancing while also giving thanks. And as she sang and danced, the land started growing bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And the whole earth was formed. Now this may sound like a tall tale, but this is a story of creation by the indigenous American people. And this story has been passed on from generation to generation in their oral tradition of storytelling. Storytelling is a creative art. And we have someone in the club who is extremely creative and brilliant at storytelling. She can take an ordinary situation from life, sprinkle her imagination, and transform it into an unforgettable story. Now, storytellers are considered creative, but she's not only creative, but is highly analytical and logical as well. And the proof is that she is a chartered accountant and a certified financial planner by profession. At Toastmasters, we know her for her splendid speeches as well as for her impeccable evaluations. She was the first runner-up at this year's evaluation contest at the division level. Now, along with the creativity and logical and analytical skills, she's also a highly committed person. Currently, she is taking up the role of treasurer at our club, and she has taken up the role of VP membership in the coming term. So ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming the Toastmaster of today, the highly committed and talented Toastmaster Shivangi Bhatt.
Thank you so much, Amrith. If I have to be modest, that was a tall tale introduction. A very good evening to all the Toastmasters and the guests today.
Good evening.
And welcome to this highly unusual special edition of the meeting, Tall Tales Day. And today's theme is Stranger Than Fiction. So before we kick things off, we'll do a small activity called Did This Really Happen? So I'll make a statement and I want you to raise your hand if you think this could happen or this is a possibility. There's a group of fish once looked at a bird flying and they got very jealous and they jumped straight out of the ocean and successfully flew around 200 meters on open air. How many of you think this could be possible?
Very fishy.
Absolutely true. This is a specific species of fish called flying fish, and they have something called pectoral fins. So underwater they accelerate at 60 kilometers per hour and then they shoot up above the surface and then they fly for 200 meters specifically to escape their predators. Okay, next statement. A group of people gathered and they were very rich people. So they decided that there should be some way in which we can show off our wealth. So they came up with an idea that, hey, let's go and rent a fruit and carry it with us. A fruit. Let's go and take a fruit on rent. How many of you think this could have happened?
Yes.
Yes? Really? Renting a fruit? Well, this actually happened in 18th century England. Pineapples were so rare that wealthy aristocrats would rent a pineapple. If they were not so wealthy, they would rent a piece of pineapple and they would carry it in their arms to parties and balls like a luxury designer bag. And finally, some humans suddenly become absolutely convinced that they are a cow. And they start walking on all fours and grazing on the grass. How many of you think people like this exist? You think people like this would exist?
No.
He's very aware.
You say grass as in
Grass?
grass, okay.
This person is very aware because I left the best for the last. This is a clinical psychological disorder. It's a delusional phase. It's proven to be a psychological disorder. It's called bonethropy, where some individuals believe they are cows. In fact, even in history, there's a Babylonian king with a very difficult name to pronounce who left his entire palace and went to live in the fields because he was convinced he shouldn't be standing on two legs and talking to people. If you guys found these facts, which you thought was fiction, but actually was stranger than fiction, extremely intriguing and curious, then my friends, you are at the right place for a Friday evening. Because our today's day is Tall Tales Day at our club. And as Mark Twain once very famously advised, never let the truth get in the way of a good story. We are committing to that advice absolutely today. That brings us to the theme of the day, Stranger Than Fiction. The theme is not just about this trivia that I told you. I picked up only 3 out of a list of 10. It's not just about these trivia. If you look at the history of our Toastmasters, the movement itself is stranger than fiction. Like our standing sergeant at arms already mentioned, 100 years ago, a modest man named Dr. Rolf Smedley, he gathered a tiny group of 25 men, took them to a cold, damp basement with a simple vision that he just wanted to help them become better speakers. Imagine if somebody told Dr. Smedley in 1924 that this tiny club of yours is going to stretch across the globe and it's going to become a colossal phenomenon. With today 14,000 clubs in 150 countries, he would have laughed and said, that is a work of fiction. In fact, he would have said, my friend, that is stranger than fiction. Yet, here we are living that impossibility. That brings us to the time that we must understand what this theme would mean to us as humans and us as a society. We live our daily lives wrapped in timelines, deadlines, and we are so continuously focused on being logical, practical, stick to facts. Of late, I've realized these are extremely important to have this bizarre experience called life, that we seem to call life. But do we have to be this serious all the time? No. We have a limited period of days and hours on this earth, and we must somewhere break these rigid boxes, be uninhibited and unhinged, and bring out, embrace our child selves even after becoming adults. Only then will we be able to experience the unfiltered imaginations that we all possess in our minds, we don't bring out. If anybody says, I am not creative, you're lying. You cannot be human and not have imagination. That's impossible. Now, a typical Toastmasters meeting has 3 sections for the guests. It's a prepared speech section is the first section where speakers will come prepared with a speech and they will have individual evaluators. Second section is the table topics section where we'll have a table topics master and he will give the members a random topic to speak on. And then the third section is the final evaluation section where all the role takers in the meeting and everything will be evaluated. Today we have tweaked the first section, which is the prepared speeches section. We have 5 prepared speakers today, but they will not have individual evaluators, they will not have any guidelines, not be following any pathway, nothing. They are literally like unsupervised children. And in the process of taking the stage, they will make us also children, maybe unsupervised as well. Now when we have a room full of unsupervised children, we cannot let them be completely out of track. So we have some babysitters to ensure that we do not burn this building down. And those babysitters, of course, are under the supervision of a parent who is our general evaluator, but the parent won't appear right now, they are off to work. And our babysitters are going to work for the rest of the meeting. The babysitters are called the tag team. So I'm going to introduce them to give their beginning comments. T stands for timer, so to make sure that the speakers here don't run on for ages and ages, we have our timer, and today's timer is an entrepreneur from the polymer industry, which means entrepreneur means timing is everything for him, right? So please put your hands together for the timer of today, Toastmaster Sriharsha.
So sticking true to the fashion of an entrepreneur, I'm looking at the time, even right now, as it is running out. So as a timer for today, my job is to make babysitting easier, and for that, all the children over here, keep in mind, you have overall 5 minutes. When you hit the 3-minute timer, green comes up. When you hit the yellow mark, 4-minute mark, is the yellow card. And finally, the last one, the red card at 5 minutes. And still, even if you don't improve, remember, I have a bell for you. This babysitter is going to be strict and harsh with you. All the best.
Thank you, Toastmaster Sriharsha. Babysitter number 2 is our counter. To keep track of all the gaps and the fillers, we have the counter, and today's counter is a real-time lawyer, which means he spends his day hours cross-examining facts. It's such an irony that today he'll be cross-examining fiction, so please put your hands together for our counter, Toastmaster Mahadeshwara.
I'll be listening to everyone's speeches carefully, and I'll be watching the use of pauses and catch words like and so, and I'll also be watching out for long pauses in between speeches, and I'll be reporting at the end of the meeting. Thank
Thank you, Toastmaster Mahadeshwara, and for our final babysitter, we have Grammarian. to document the magnificent, beautiful, and sometimes twisted usage of the English language. Our grammarian is an Airbnb owner, which means it is his daily job to patiently listen to the long, never-ending needs and expectations of his guests. So he's the right person to put his listening skills to use today. So please put your hands together to welcome our grammarian Toastmaster, Alan.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Alan, your friendly grammar detective for today. I'll be listening carefully to all of you. I'll be noting the good usages and not so good usages of the English language in an effort to help all of us speak a little better and a little clearer. Now, today's word of the day is colossal. It means extremely large, huge, or massive in size, extent, or degree. For example, mastering the English language can feel like a colossal task, but Bangalore Toastmasters Club provides the perfect supportive environment to tackle it one word at a time. I encourage you all to use the word of the day like our President Amrith and Shivangi have done till now, and I will present my investigative findings towards the end of the meeting. Back to the Toastmaster.
Thank you, Toastmaster Alan. Now that we have finished with all the formalities, let's begin. But to prepare ourselves for what we are going to be witnessing, keep your hands down. I mean, whatever is in your hand, keep it down. And then make a shape like this. This is supposed to be a screw, okay? And then keep it near your temples. Okay, unscrew one side like this. Okay, unscrew the other side like this. So you also have to unscrew. Everybody is supposed to unscrew, and then whatever is coming out as your logical, fact-checking, analytical stuff, you can't just leave it. You have to take it and hold it in your hands like this. Okay, and on the count of 1, 2, 3, we're going to hurl it out the window. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Hurl it out the window, because today we don't need our analytical brains. We have to listen with our hearts. And with the seals broken, the babysitters ready, the kids ready, let us begin with our first reality bender. Our first speaker is a student who is pursuing Bachelor's of Commerce, which means that she's submerged in balance sheets, numbers, accounts. That's not the order. We picked a random order. But today evening she's going to burn all the ledgers that she ever has. And she's about to prove that when it comes to human connections and relationships, there is no logic, there is no formula, there is no predictable math. So get ready for a search that is going to be completely wild, with her speech titled, The Perfect Match. The Perfect Match. Put your hands together for Toastmaster Bhavana. Hello. Good evening. Okay.
A couple of months back, I got a message from a complete stranger online. Now, like any sensible woman, I ignored the message. The first message, hey, ignored. The second message, hi, ignored. And the third message, he sent a picture of a Labrador. Now, ladies and gentlemen, that is how he got me. If you ask me what is the second best thing after sleep, it is probably my dog, Simha. Maybe he might be first, but for now let's keep with him. And he replied, your dog is amazing. And I texted back, yes, I know, he's amazing. And we started talking. Days became couple of months. Minutes became hours. And then we spoke everything about everything possible on earth. I spoke about my interests, hobbies, I yapped, and he listened. Hey, for the first time, some guy has shown interest in me. My own parents don't talk with me, but he's listening to me. Then, after days of talking, after 4 months, he texted, "Hey, do you want to go on a date?" I replied, "Yes, of course. Why not?" I had already envisioned my entire future with him. I planned on how I would go on fancy dates, beautiful sunsets, beautiful sunrises, everything I had planned. I had even planned my honeymoon and how I would raise my kids. Okay, the thought about him being a serial killer, a kidnapper, or a trafficker was completely out of my mind because I knew in my heart that he was the one for me. Then the date arrives. I go half an hour before to this cafe, dressed beautifully in a white dress. I sit calm, composed, collected, elegant looking. But my heart was throbbing. Then he walks in. The entire environment in the cafe changes. The lights become brighter, the music sounds better, the coffee tastes better, and the girl next to my table drops a mug. Because that was how handsome he looked. Looked like a Greek god, straight down from the heaven. And I was completely mesmerized by his beauty. He comes in, walks, and then he has his sunglasses and mask on. Shakes my hand, he's like, "Hi." I reply shyly, "Hi, nice to meet you finally." And then, all of a sudden, the complete weather outside changes. There's heavy rains falling, just like today's rain. Heavy rains, but even more heavier. The entire road was flooded in minutes, and people were stranded out there. And then my date walks out, casually shoots a web across the building, and another web across the building, and then he swings, and then he rescues the people stranded. He completely clears the Bangalore traffic, which is impossible. Then after that, he walks back in. Now everyone in the cafe are looking at us. He removes his sunglasses, he removes his mask, and then he tells, "Hi Bhavana, nice to meet you." But I was shocked. I leaned forward and asked, "Who are you?" Then he replies, "Spider-Man." Spider-Man? But after what he had done, he had cleared the entire Bangalore traffic. I thought Spider-Man was the most believable thing right then. Then he replies, "Hey Bhavana, I am so sorry, but I have to save the entire world right now. Can I please go?" And then he disappears into the sunset. And here I am, smiling like a fool. And then, ladies and gentlemen, I had unfortunately forgot to ask for a second date.
That was a hilarious speech, but girl to girl, Bhavana, if it's too good to be true, it's probably not true. A lesson well learned. Our next speaker, he is also a student pursuing Bachelor of Economics from St. Joseph's College. But today he's going to step away from his textbooks and see how much he can stretch his imagination. Because he claims to possess a face that can clear Bangalore traffic, melt glaciers, invalidate the laws of physics. So with his speech titled, Notoriously Handsome, please put your hands together for Toastmaster Abhinava.
मेरे सामने वाली खिड़की में एक चांद का टुकड़ा रहता है. Good evening, my friends.
Good evening.
A few weeks prior, I had a very beautiful dream. A a very beautiful dream that was so beautiful, it was too beautiful for me to let pass. And I knew that it would be my next speech, and today is the day. The dream has not been altered in any way. No changes, no fabrications, no interruptions, nothing. It is the way as it is. So it started with me, my friends, my family and my cousins. We were having a nice time exploring the roads of Jainagar. We were walking along the nice paths of 4th block, exploring the beautiful lush green trees, seeing the vendors sell their flowers, buying the snacks, taking photos, having a nice time laughing and talking. As afternoon rolled around, we were growing pretty hungry and we thought we should stop by near a restaurant to have a nice lunch. As we were approaching the metro station near Jainagar, I see this very familiar face across the street near the footpath. I could have sworn I seen that person very much earlier. And I'm taking a closer look. I see and I realize that it's my girlfriend. And she's not alone. She's holding hands. She's holding hands with the one and only Kumar himself. How can she? I'm scared and I'm terrified. That's not the worst part, my friends. He takes out a lunchbox from her bag. She takes out a lunchbox from her bag. It's my lunchbox. It has my favorite dish, masala dosa. And she hands it to him. That was the last straw for me. I couldn't take it any longer. I told my cousin that I'm going to confront him. I walked across the road, walked to the other side of the footpath, and I looked at him and I told him, Mr. Kishore, put the box down and let's handle this like professionals. And yeah, he looked at the dosa, he looked at me, he looked back at the box and spoke in Hindi. My son, let's professionally settle this just the way you said. And I knew that he was challenging me immediately because since he's more of a singer than an actor, I knew that to make this a fair playing ground, we should have a singing competition. Okay, look, the tall part of this tale is not Kishore Kumar, you don't misunderstand, it's actually me having a girlfriend, okay? We decided that there should be two rounds of singing. The round one was based on popularity of the song. And I let him go first because I'm a nice guy. Mr. Kishore picked his most famous song from the 60s and sang in such exuberance that the entirety of Jainagar, the entire trees of Jainagar started to lean towards him and bloom in all of his flowers. And I was terrified because I don't know how to match his tone and energy. So I started to steal one of his own songs and sing it back at him, but with such rigor and with such energy that all of the Bangalore traffic stopped moving. I don't know where the judges came from, but 4 judges came by and called it a tie. So the second round was based on romance. Mr. Kishore took this very beautiful song of Vesha Mastani and started singing in such courage and such novelty that everyone around the block stopped moving and started to look at him. Even the RCP and CSK fans stopped arguing and started to observe and listen. I knew that I had to excel beyond him because this was getting very intense. So I also picked one of his own songs, sang back at him, and I sang with such a melodious voice that every bird in Bangalore stopped chirping because they heard a sweeter tone somewhere else. So the judges again, I'm pretty sure I could have won that round, but the judges were from the 70s, so they were kind of biased. So they had to take his side, and now there had to be a tiebreaker. The tiebreaker was so intense, and they asked him to pick a song. And the song should be sung in such a way that both of us should sing line by line to see who was a better singer. But after intense coordination and after gathering such a huge colossal crowd, I managed to perform better than him. My performance was so moving that the infamous Bangalore traffic started to move again. And Kishore Kumar was a very nice gentleman. He realized that he had to accept defeat because I don't know where he found such a new gentleman who could sing better than him. And he lets me take the crown. Eventually, I let him take the lunchbox. Because dosa should be tasted by someone, should be tasted by my ideal life partner who makes the best food in the world. Give it up.
stomach's kind of hurting. Thank you so much, Abhinava. We move on to the next speaker. Our next speaker is a professional banker, which means that numbers, calculations, money management is his thing. Today he's going to close his bank vault, the one that he has in his head, and he's going to share a financial mystery with us, I think, which is so wide and will be so economically unhinged that it could give all of us a heart attack. With the rate the economy is going now, any kind of financial advice is very welcome. So please put your hands together with the speech titled The Most Expensive Movie Ticket. The Most Expensive Movie Ticket, Toastmaster Debasish.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and dear guests.
Good evening.
Let me confess something to you. I am a big fan of Bollywood actress Basha. On February 1st, 2002, one of her iconic movie released called Raj. I planned to watch the show for the night show. In the evening, it was drizzling. It was lightning in the sky, but anything for Basha. I reached on time. The movie was wonderful and it ended sharp at 12:30 a.m. When I came out of the movie, the city has totally changed. All around was darkness, the trees are uprooted, the cinema body is upside down. And I come to know that cyclone had hit the city. I even didn't get an auto to reach to my house. I don't have any other option. I started walking for 5 kilometers. In 10 minutes, I reached near the cremation ground, where I used to get scared during daytime also. To hide my afraid, I started singing. Agar samne Vijay, I think I impressed someone. Someone started talking to me. Debasish. Oh, Debasish. I got scared. I started running. The same voice chased me. After 3 seconds or 4 seconds, I found that someone is touching my shoulder. Before fainting, I turned back. It was my friend Amrith. Amrith, are you nuts? Why are you making such a terrible sound? He said, no, I was just saying Debasish. Hey Debasish, why you are running? So he also told that I also come for my love Basha and I also give that auto. So we continued our journey. In the next 10 minutes, we met an old man walking alone in the midnight. We asked our curiosity, Uncle, what is your name? Where are you going? What are you doing? He didn't respond at all. At last, Amrith shouted, Uncle, minimum tell us, where are you going? He just showed this way. When we saw the hand, there was no flesh, only bone, skeleton. We started running out of fear until we found a street vendor. We reached the street vendor who was selling peanuts, gasping, Uncle, we know what no? We saw a man, there was no flesh, only bones, Uncle. Uncle, he didn't respond at all. At the end, he just gave us a mysterious smile. Whether his hands were like this, when you saw, there was only skeleton. His face turned into skull and the peanuts become tiny bones. We don't have any other option than running again. Then we saw a rickshawala who is sleeping near the rickshaw, covering his whole body. We don't have any other option. We slept there, we got 2 pieces of cloth also to cover ourselves. Around 4 o'clock, we saw people gathered around us and started talking. Hey, why 3, when 3, what 3, just 3. Out of confusion, I removed the cloth from my face. They started running and screaming. I could not understand. And someone come to know to near us and asked him, hey, what are you doing near the body? I asked, what body? Yesterday he died, but we did not cremate due to cyclone. And what are you doing there? No other option. At last, around 5 o'clock, we reached to the hostel. I saw astonishingly all my friends are standing near the hostel gate because it was a snoring time. But what they are doing there? I asked friend, what are you doing there? They are told, we are concerned for you. Then one of them shouted, what happened to Amrith yesterday, you know? I just revealing my adventure story. Just saw left, right, again left and right in search of Amrith, but I could not find. Someone shouted, Amrith yesterday died in an accident. I fainted there. After 2 days, I woke up in hospital with a curious mind whether Amrith is my friend in need or a ghost indeed.
When he said the most most expensive movie ticket, I thought he's going to talk about how expensive the popcorn is and how we spend lots of money on that. But this lesson was worth having. Never go to the movies until you check the weather. Our next speaker is a recent graduate student from Christ University, and he tells me for the longest time as a kid, he assumed that the title or the words auntie and uncle were awarded as official titles when he got married. And I think he decided he's never going to get married. So today he's picking off the gossip columns of aunties and uncles, and he's going to share with us a top secret. With his speech titled, The Untold Story of Demonetization. The Untold Story of Demonetization. Please put your hands together for Toastmaster Suraj.
Do you know the reason behind demonetization, GST, introduction of digital payments, as well as visa rules change? I am going to share a secret with you which had a colossal impact on the Indian economy. And it all started with me. My fellow speaker, dear members and welcome guests. I was traveling from Bangalore to Chennai. I had 2,000 rupees note and one 500 rupee note. And I was hungry, so I ordered samosa through the train window and I gave 500 rupees change. And that person ran faster than Usain Bolt. And I panicked, what should I do? And I called my friend. Modi picked up the phone, he said, Suraj, I'll fix this issue. And in the next moment, the 500 and 1,000 rupee notes were banned. I not only lost the change from the vendor, I also lost the 2,000 rupees that I had in my wallet. I should have stayed quiet so that I could have at least utilized the money. With the 500 and 1,000 rupees gone, everybody got the brand new 2,000 rupees. They went to the shops. The shops didn't have any change. What were they giving instead? Melody chocolates. The one that we had in our childhood during Children's Day. I didn't like that at all and I was drowning in it. So I called my aunt Nirmala and she said, I will introduce digital payments in India, Suraj. Don't worry. And in the next budget session, digital payments was introduced in India. And all the nations around India started appreciating Nirmala Nirmala. And we all know the main reason was that I don't get lifelong supply of melody. With the melody gone, I still had the craving for eating such sweets. So I went through my mobile for online delivery of snacks. I saw chips. It was 20 rupees. And the service charge was 30 rupees. The handling cost was 10 rupees. The indirect cost was more than the product itself. What should I do? I was disappointed. I kept my phone back. At evening, at a chai pe charcha session, I asked my uncle Gately, JC uncle, my wallet is becoming smaller than a chips wafer. So he looked at me and said, don't worry beta, I will ensure that there will be proper regulation in India. And in the next budget, the VAT was removed and GST was introduced. Unfortunately, that didn't help me because GST has two components. I had to pay extra. So that evening, I sat on the couch, turned on the television. I saw Arnav Goswami in a heated debate. He was speaking. The nation wants to know, why are Indians leaving India and going to USA? There's huge brain drain happening. So I was intrigued. I said the same thing to my buddy, and my buddy Trump called me. And he said, I will help you, Suraj. Instead, you have to help me in my campaign. Okay, I agreed to it. I became his campaign manager. Guess what? He won. And the first thing he did was tightening the visa. The immigrants cried, the investors lost all money, the market crashed. But it was good for me because as a graduate in USA, you don't have to pay extra fees for visa. So now you know if there's any change in policies or schemes, you don't have to look at the newspaper, just have to contact me and ask, Suraj, what went wrong with your life this week? Because that's how the laws are made. Thank you.
So his top secret is the fact that he has amazing contacts. We don't need to go anywhere. We have our Toastmaster community to have such contacts. Thank you so much, Suraj, for that really hilarious speech. And finally, we come to the last speaker for the day. This person is going to take us on a high altitude journey to the frozen peaks of mountain tops. And then he's going to introduce us to his companion, who might be a monk, who might be a yeti, who might be a figment of his imagination. We will know only after listening to his speech. So with his speech titled, My Himalayan Friend, please put your hands together for Toastmaster Anirudh.
Thank you. So, how many of you here have a travel bucket list? And how many of you had or have Himalayas in that bucket list? I do add Himalayas in my travel bucket list. After hearing lot of stories from childhood about the mystical and mythical parts of Himalayas, I thought at some point of time I should go to Himalayas. And then it happened. Me and a bunch of friends visited this Himalayan state, Sikkim. So how many of you know this famous beautiful lake called Gurdwambar Lake? So Gurdwambar Lake is one of the exotic lakes in North Sikkim, which is at an elevation or altitude of 18,000 feet above the sea level. So when we visited this lake, my friends behaved the way most of the tourists does. Any guesses? Yeah, they started taking pictures. Someone who loves nature and loves peace, I just started walking away and reached at the edge of the lake. And then I got surprised. I saw colossal footprints, almost size of a dinner plate. On seeing the footprints, I realized whoever had made it must be at the size of WWE wrestler The Big Show. So I took my mobile, took a photo of it, and then I tried zooming at a distance. My God. And I clicked a picture without even realizing what I saw. Do you want to see that picture? Yes. What I clicked in Gurdwambar, I found this. Yes, to your guess, it's a Yeti. And my travel guide told me that Yetis do live in Himalaya still. And yeah, I found one. After taking a picture, I silently moved towards my friends, hoping that I'd be posting this in social media. When I was walking a few meters away, there was a gentle tap. Imagine who would have been that. When I turned, at 18,000 feet elevation, I found a 8 feet tall Yeti. Literally, I lost oxygen. Now imagine what would have happened. No. Just like Munna by MBBS, the Yeti was very polite and warm. He gave a warm hug. He even asked me, like, would you like to take a swim in the Gurdongmar lake? I said, brother, it's freezing cold. Ah. He just blew and he said, the geyser is on. Jump into the By the time I had a great swimming and I came out, the Yeti was preparing hot butter tea made of yak milk. And he offered me to keep myself more warm. I thought I am in a homestay in Sikkim. Then I decided, let me part away from Yeti. But then I felt very emotional because of his hospitality. I said, Yeti, come on, I am going to take a selfie with you. Yeti, say cheese. I am going to show this photo to my Toastmasters friends. Smile, please. Imagine what happened. He snatched my phone, threw it into the lake, and he said, it's time to buy a new phone. Oh dear.
How come the other photo is there?
You must plan a trip for all of us to the Himalayas and let us meet this friend of yours so we can have a swim in this lake. And have the hot geyser on and have that butter tea. Thank you so much, Toastmaster Suraj, for that entertaining speech. And the password for voting is 1206.
Is it the right one?
It is the right one. One, 206. Now let's go with the break, talk to some real people around you, come back to reality, and then we shall meet after the break for our next session. Our speakers have left reality in absolute tatters. So members, now it's your turn to see how you are going to experience the colossal aftermath of it. For that, we have the table topic section. To conduct the table topic session, we have a person who is working in the research and development department of Mercedes-Benz. So after a thorough research for the table topics, he is here to help you develop the skill of impromptu speaking. Please put your hands together for today's table topics master, Toastmaster Imtiaz.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and dear guests.
Good evening.
How are you all? Welcome to the exciting and spontaneous part of today's evening table topics. Here, you think on your feet and you speak from your heart. There are no judgments. Just show up and share your perspective. Are we ready to go?
Yes.
Yes. Here we go. The first topic. Imagine if your pet could talk, what conversation would you have? The topic goes to Toastmaster Govind.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
So, if my pet could talk to me, okay, I think I really like. Most of the time, I will crib him about my team members after coming back from my office. That is the part of the day. But morning, I think I will make him my buddy who will accompany me for my morning walks, for gym, for whatever I go to. But the most difficult thing I will feel will be when I will go into office, what will happen to me? That is a major concern for me. Now it's like, okay, I can be rude, a bit hard, and put stones on my heart and like, okay, say bye to him and go to my office. But if he starts talking, he will complain to me all the time. He will crit more than me. So I think it's good if he doesn't talk to me, because sometimes the connection and the bond and the love and affection doesn't need a voice. And also, but people can disagree on this. So this was my opinion. And unfortunately, as of now, I don't have any pet, but definitely in future it will be there. So this was the trigger point for me to get a pet. Thank you.
I missed one important fact about the table topics. Timer, please note. At first minute, you will show the green card. At 1.5 minutes, you will show the yellow card. At second minute, you will be showing the 1.5. At 1.5 minutes, you will show the red card. Then the speaker has to wind up as soon as possible. And the second topic, and I wanted to give this topic to our female member, since we don't have a female member right now today. I would give it to Abhinava.
She was speaker.
The day you went for shopping for one thing and you came home with a lot of things, but that one thing is missing. Not maybe you can consider your wife. Yeah.
Okay, this is what happens when table topics masters go too far. Yeah, they confuse things and people and genders. But shopping is a very gender neutral thing. And I am a very forgetful person. I'm someone who forgets things a lot. Like if I go down in my house and I'm asked to switch off the motor, I go down especially for that and come back without switching off the motor. So this topic is totally applicable to me in some sense. But when it comes to shopping, I really love shopping. I confess the point that I really love shopping, but it's only shopping for things that I like, not anybody else. So whenever I go for shopping, I make a nice list of what all I want to buy and what are the stores I want to check out. So I go to the store, I check out whatever I want, and finally I end up buying. And the best part about shopping is that you don't need anyone around you. It's like therapy. Yeah, your hard-earned money well spent on the thing that you want, and then when you can use it, you really enjoy it. So take for example all the clothes and things that you wear, and especially shopping for watches is the best thing. So you get to try on the latest collection of watches. Yeah, but there are times when I have gone to shopping when my mother or my wife has told me to buy something, and I've just come back by buying a lot of other things, but not that. And especially this happens when I go grocery shopping. My list sometimes get confused. So I think time is out, and table topics master, don't confuse my gender.
And definitely, Toastmaster, we will not tell you to switch on the motor here, otherwise we will be running out of water shortage. Definitely you are not going to switch on the motor. And the third topic, can we have a big round of applause for And the third topic is a tall tale, unreal story, which you told to your friend. Can we, it goes to Toastmaster Karnataka. Can we have a big round of applause for Karnataka? A tall tale, unreal story, which you told to your friend.
Oh. Well,
Unreal.
yeah, it's very easy because if you have to convince people, a little white lie also okay, people okay that, right? So a lot of times I've said, if I have to convince somebody, say for example, if I have to convince somebody to take up some comedy role, I say it has been the most, I was talking to somebody who wanted to contest for the role of SA,
I convinced so much to that person that, hey, this is what has shaped my life so much. Whatever I have because of SA, whatever I have because of Toastmasters and things. That person did not become SA. So yeah, it happens a lot of times. You kind of polish certain phrases, certain ways actually, but with the hidden intention of improving that person, right? So that is something that I do very often. At the same time, there are a lot of times where you lie, but if the intention is good, then it actually is forgivable. And the lie that I tell very often is to my parents and to my wife, she is here today. It's more about certain things that you purchase. And people have a preconceived notion that it has to price only this much, it has to cost only this much, right? And the moment it goes beyond that, their mind cannot comprehend anything further. So it is important to actually have a mix of both lie and fact, fiction and fact to actually give you good results. Yeah, over to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Karnakar. So you can hear a lot of tall tale unreal story in Bangaloreans. They may not have a small home to live, but they will tell even the Kingfisher villa, Kingfisher, that unfinished home which is on the top of the tower. They will say that is theirs. That is what I understood. And the fourth topic, the day you postpone something so long, it's solved by itself. It goes to Toastmaster Ratan Chetty.
So this is something very common actually. And it's very true for worries. You know, because things that you worry about very often don't happen. And so I think this refers to a lot of my worries, which actually looked like a Yeti, or which look like Donald Trump. Sorry. But then, so scary people, scary figures. But actually, when you just go through the day or go through the day, you go through the things that are to be done during the day, the thing you are really worried about doesn't happen at all. So it seems like a monster, but it actually doesn't remain as scary because it's actually just fizzled out. So, so you would expect a philosophical note from me when you get a humorous topic, but then that's part of the game. So I would say that, it's a very important reminder that don't worry about things, just get down to doing things and get things done. So just do it is the message. So don't think about it, because if you think about it, if you think something, it would happen that way. But the worst would happen. So don't worry about it.
What we understand from Toastmaster Ratan, just do it. Don't think too much. And the next topic, the day you made grand plans for the weekend and spent the entire weekend on just a couch. The topic goes to Toastmaster Naveen. Can we have a big round of applause for Naveen?
Good evening, fellow Toastmaster and dear guests. I generally plan my weekends, it depends on few friends, and sometimes those plans depends on their moods. So there was a time when we were just finished our graduation, and just came to Bangalore very newly, and we had one friend who was working in an Infosys. So he loves to be at home because one complete week he was grilled. We were not in IT. He was the first person to get into IT. So other three, four friends, we all want to go out. We have plans for the movies, plans for having good food and so many things. But the other guy wants to sit at one place, sit, chit chat, watch movies, have drink, and so on. So most of the time we end up to this guy's house with a lot of excitement and looking at his face, looking at his mood. Most of the weekends were gone sitting at one place. Over to
The message is very clear. Don't take IT stream so that you can sticking the system, then sticking to the couch. The next topic is a little bit interesting. The night you played a chess with a vampire and you won. The topic goes to Toastmaster Chandrasekhar.
2003 December, I had gone to Kumar. On that day, it was a very historic day because that day India won a test match in Australia after many, many years. So when I was a kid, I used to always watch India losing. And that day, we were in an office conference in a restaurant or hotel at Kumar. And the match got over, we won, and I shouted, shrieked. In the evening, at that time, there was no phone calls. So what I did was, I wanted to speak to my sister because we both are crazy cricket fans, or maybe all sports. So what I did was, around 8 o'clock, I asked my friends, can you come to the town? They said, hey, we won't come. I said, no, today is too important a day. And I walked to the city center. I think if anyone's gone there, you'll see. I walked for a kilometer almost. Lights are not there. There's a chapel in between. You can see here the stream of the river which goes. So I went to, somehow I was terrified, but I reached the telephone booth, few people there in the town. I called my sister, very happy, came back. On the way back, I almost reached, I think, 1/4 of the journey. Then suddenly I saw a jeep coming in front of me, and those lights blinded me. And I said, okay, I waited for a few seconds, and as soon as the car went past, I saw a lady in front of me, just standing like this, in a white dress, and I was terrified. I just ran without thinking. I ran for maybe 200 meters, and then I saw back. I think it was a normal person, but I thought it was a vampire. And then after reaching home, I cursed my friend, saying that you shouldn't have ditched me like this. That's what happened to me.
There are two things which I could pick from his speech. If you want to see vampire, then go to Cook. And Australia, India beat Australia. The Australian players are vampires. Okay, the next topic. What if you found a secret tunnel under your bed? The topic goes to Toastmaster Shamas. Can we give a big round of applause for Shamas?
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. So, I wish that tunnel would be to a place we all wish to be there, and place we all think that, and place an imaginary place where we all are the main characters, and we all are the characters in which we wish that we want to be accomplished in our life. Like our dreams have been actually accomplished, and that dreams were actually the fact happening in our real life. As we as we move deeper to the tunnel, we get to know that it's a factual thing, and we get to recognize that as we move backward, it's actually going to actually moving on to the place where we actually had been slept, and we just realized that it was actually a dream.
Thank you, Toastmaster Shimas. And the next topic, you fell asleep at the boarding gate, and when you woke up, you see an empty terminal. The topic goes to Toastmaster Privilege. Can you read it? Yeah, you fell asleep at the boarding gate at an airport. Yeah. When you woke up, you see an empty terminal. You missed the flight.
Thank you for that tabletop story. I guess this is one of the fiction stories, right? I am a fan of watching the English movies. I mean, especially the fiction-oriented movies. I'm not getting the movie name. It is acted by Vijay. In that movie, all the things will be occupied by the, even the airport, all those things will be, completely destroyed by the aliens or something like that. But they will be not coming outside in the morning time, but they will be very active in the in the night time basically. So yeah, if that, talking about that film story, he will be survived by only, by his dog and himself. Not getting the movie name. And yeah, Pleasant. Yeah. Thanks for reminding me that. So, if that is the case, okay, back to the table topic. If everything is disappeared when I woke up, maybe just I want to get entertained like Will Smith in that movie. Maybe playing with all those ghosts. I assume that there will be some ghosts or some creatures will be there in that thing. So yeah, if everything is disappeared, just pray to God.
Thank you, Toastmaster. I know you are an active person. You will not sleep at the airport. That way, at the boarding gate location. Okay. And the next topic, the time you tried explaining a simple thing to your child and gets confused finally. The topic goes to distinguished Toastmaster Vijay.
Parents who have children who are either teenage or just past that would perhaps connect with me. Toastmaster, third Toastmaster, yes. My daughter, she's 22 years young now, and all of her teens, I've been telling her one thing when it comes to studies. Two words, F and C. F meaning focus, and C is concentrate. And the minute she starts taking her cell phone, the TV, those two words just come out subconsciously. And next time Bill says a mistake, Papa, don't say it. I know what you're saying. Focus and concentrate. She's so bugged. So what I did was, I did some research. I told her that every time you see a cell phone or you have a conversation with a friend, if you spend 2 minutes, it takes five times, 10 minutes to get back into the zone. I've given her so much of gyan, so much of knowledge, to the extent now she detests me. And the words focus and concentrate bugs her, and she says, when I see you, I can't focus and concentrate. I'm not joking, it's reached that stage. So Topic Master, you absolutely nailed it. I think something which we shouldn't be doing either with your child, or with your spouse, or with your sibling, or friend, or colleague, we don't realize inadvertently, without our knowledge, we say things, and instead of serving us, it works against us. So just be wary of that.
I'm sure, DTM Vijay, instead of getting confused by yourself, you will confuse the other person.
I am confused.
And the last topic of today's evening, you went to check one mobile notification on last 2 hours of your precious time. And the topic goes to Toastmaster Srinidhi. You have seen one mobile notification on last 2 hours of your precious time.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and my dear guest.
Good evening.
That one notification where I lost 2 hours of my life is the notification on my WhatsApp projects group. Why I say this? Because whenever my team sends notifications, there is a problem. Ultimately, I will be losing all my day. Instance, I'll tell you a small example of one of my life situations. Where I work for an office infrastructure company, one of the situations we had a very tight schedule. We are supposed to deliver the project and complete it within 4 days of time. And we loaded all the materials of 15-feet truck and 5 tons of weight. And in middle of chaotic Bangalore traffic, it got stuck. Because it's breakdown. And it got punctured also. We supposed to unload, say, all the material to a different vehicle. I tried, I could not find anybody. Later I called my friend. Guess whom? The Hulk himself. He came and he unloaded all the materials from one vehicle to another vehicle. And the vehicle started moving. I supposed to repair the existing vehicle. Driver did not have stepney. Driver did not have stepney. What did I call? I called Iron Man to lift the vehicle. And put stepney, I called the Iron Man to tighten it back. Sorry, Thor to tighten it so that with his hammer he can swing and make sure that it tightened. And with all the hard works, we had 2 teams coming to complete the project. One, the Captain America from the Marvels team, and guess who?
Mr. Marvels.
The Bangalore Toastmasters Club. Thank you so much.
Thank you everyone for taking part in the table topics session. And I would wish you a nice evening ahead. And I would hand it over to the stage that to the Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Imtiaz, for that intriguing table talk, for those intriguing table topics. Now we have a surprise education session. A tall man is going to share with us his tips and tricks on how to make crutch words small in our speeches. So please put your hands together for distinguished Toastmaster Vijay.
All of us, including me, do have crutch words. To the best of my limited knowledge, there isn't any human being on this planet who speaks without any fillers or crutch words. Toastmaster today, Toastmasters and guests, good evening.
Good evening.
Today's theme is all about tall tales. Around 6:30, I was standing in that part of the hall, and the president, she came up to me and said, I need to talk to you. I said, okay, sure, Madam President. Then she threw a curveball at me. I want you to give an education session on crutch words. And the first thing I said was, ah. I don't think I can do it because I'm not prepared. I said, don't be silly with it, just go ahead. So, Madam President, thank you for throwing that curveball at me. To the best of my ability, let me see what I can share with you. 4 tips. I not want to share too much. 4 things what you and I can do to reduce our crutch words. Let's get real, be honest. We can't eliminate it completely. It's going to be part of our speaking journey. The first one, where is our counter? Toastmaster is we're told not to pause, unnecessary pauses or long pauses. But the first technique to reduce crutch words is the deliberate use of pause. Because sometimes we're speaking and we lose track of what we are saying. So pause. The audience doesn't know that you're pausing in order to avoid a crutch word. It's a deliberate attempt. It's one of the speaking tools in voice modulation. Pause. So one technique, friends, is to pause. Not like one of our beloved late Prime Ministers, Vijay. Not like him. He used to speak between pauses. With due respect to, he was our beloved, he did a lot for the country, not ridiculing anyone, but just on a lighter note. So it's good to pause. So the first technique is to reduce crutch words, pause. Second is, we tend to speak too fast, most of us, including me. So the normal average rate is 120 words per minute. The rationale being 2 words per second. 6 seconds in a word, 120. But we Indians, most of us, we tend to speak at 140, 150 on average. And because of that, our mind goes faster than rather the mind can't keep up with the words at the rate we're speaking. So we tend to use crutch words. So one thing, try to slow down. It doesn't come naturally. So my recommendation is, we have wonderful devices, record your speech and see how many words come out in those, 5, 6, 7 minutes. It's a tough thing to do. You can't really count the words while you're speaking, but at least see how long you're speaking, and you can have a script. So let's say you have about 840 words, ideally speaking, for a 7-minute speech. If you're speaking 1,000 words in those 7 minutes, you're way too fast. So second tip is slow down. The first thing is pause. Third, know your material well. Whatever content that you're sharing, it might seem very, very trivial, very basic, very baby, but the point is, know your subject matter well. I'm not saying memorize the entire presentation, that's a recipe for disaster. At least your key points in the body of the talk. Of course, the opening and the conclusion, it gives you confidence. When you stutter, stammer at the opening, your crutch words are bound to increase. And if you don't structure the speech, the body of the speech, the key points, the body of the talk, again, you're going to use it more you knows, I mean, because you're found wanting for your thoughts. So know your material well. Supporting material, don't ever memorize it, visualize it. So when you visualize, instead of memorizing in words, it comes out more smoothly. The human brain is very comfortable with pictures, not words. So third thing is know your subject matter content well. The fourth and final tip, practice. No substitute for this. The 5 P's formula. 5 P's is not PAs, not Batani or Mutton. Okay? The 5 P's formula, proper practice prevents poor performance. Allow me to say that again. Proper practice prevents poor performance. And in this case, in general performance, but specifically in use of crutch words. Okay, so the 4, quick recap.
Pause.
Slow down. Go pause. Thank you, Madam President. Okay.
Slow down.
Slow down. Thank you, Abhay.
Know your content.
Know your content well. Thank you, Govind. Practice. The best in the world do it. Why not you and me? Any walk of life, sports, entrepreneurs here, Sriharsha is getting his act together, whatever business, performing arts, education, any walk of life to practice. Why not public speaking? Okay, I'll stop here. I'll open the floor for questions. Any questions, doubts regarding this?
So for impromptu speaking, how to improve for impromptu speaking? Because most of the practice that we do is for a prepared
speech.
Whereas if you speak impromptu, that's when like you get more pauses and ahs and
Crunch words, ahs. Okay. Anand, finish the question?
Yeah.
Okay, Anand. Impromptu speaking, off the cuff, practice. Come more on stage. Even after 5-10 years, at times you might have less clutch words, at times more creeping. So it's that day, it's just toss of the coin, roll of the dice, how things go, roll of the punch. But one thing, practice. The more you come here, your clutch words will reduce. It's what I'm trying to say here, it should not be to the point where it's distracting your audience away from your message. One or two will slip in, will come in, will seep in, but not to the extent where I had a friend of mine, a colleague, a trainer, 1.5 sessions I would facilitate and the next 1.5 he would. Every 4th or 5th word would be, you know. So in the lunch break I told him, I won't mention his name, I told him, if you keep telling the audience, you know, the audience will not know unless you tell them. So he was totally unaware, it was a blind spot, he was unaware. He was prepared, Anirudh. It's a corporate training, we went prepared for it. And that's the case. Now just imagine impromptu. It's a very daunting task. So my answer to your question, I'm not answering entirely or to some extent, practice. Anyone else? Yes, Sriharsha?
Maybe coming to the point of impromptu speaking, right? Is there a specific mindset that...
See, even the BESCOM can't take it. Even BESCOM folks can't handle the R's and the touch words. Yes, we are totally in the dark when it comes to touch words. Yes, throw some light on your question. By the way, so not stage managed, okay? I know anyone in BESCOM civil division, absolutely, God's plans. Yes, Sriharsha.
So what's the mindset that we should go into when we go into the stage? Because when we are going impromptu, naturally, no matter how many times you go, like, for me it was when I was in the speech crowd, I was not thinking, okay, let's crush it. I was thinking, am I going to get crushed?
Okay. I play with the word crush. Just think of your crush. No R's, who's, you will just be in the zone. No, just jokes apart, just playing with words. Okay, a couple of strategies you can have. It's not going to work all the time, a few strategies. Whichever topic is given, depending on topic. Today, Toastmaster Imtiaz gave all very imaginative topics. So those kind of, you can have the 3 W's in the 1 H. What, when, why, how. So what happens when you have a strategy, the number of clutch words will reduce. Otherwise, again, it's linked with your question, Anirudh, more clutch words are going to creep in. You're wondering, what do I say next? You're fumbling, wanting for words. So one strategy is the 3 W's or the 4 W's, 1 H. What, when, where, why, how. Second thing you could do is talk about 2 sides, like a turncoat, good and bad. You spoke about, let's say, a good thing. Where is our friend Shamas? Where's Shamas? He's gone to the tunnel, is it? Oh, he's there. Okay, fine. I thought it went to the tunnel. Okay. Very tough topic. Just tunnel under your bed. Good Lord. That was like a nightmare, man. Okay, so Shamas is one possibility, right? You're going to use 3 W's, 1 H. What in a tunnel? Where was it? When you enter it? How you will come out of it? So that kind of a thing, you will less clutch words. Good and bad. Good at having a tunnel. Your spouse or your roommate is asking tough questions, return the money that you borrowed, or wife is saying buy the 10 lakh diamond necklace, and the tunnel is a way to escape. The good thing. The bad thing about tunnel, Bangalore's rains, one rain, my tunnel will be flooded. So just talk about good and bad, clutch words will reduce. What I'm trying to cut long story short, Sriharsha, have strategies. You can break the topic into components, another strategy. So with these strategies in place, that's one side of the coin. The other thing is you must have either, you've got to experience that, not these kind of topics, tunnels and stuff. You can't experience that because you can never. So how could you cook up a story, which today's for tall tales? We all do that at table topics. Be creative, be imaginative. So the strategies will help you churn your creative juices. It's a tough thing, Sriharsha, that's all I could suggest. Be at it. Like they say, right, keep chipping away. To answer gentlemen, your question, gentlemen, let's say a 6-foot stone, someone wants to make an idol of it. It's just one rectangular block and you want to make an idol. Today, I go to Malur, which is about 40 km east of Bangalore. I give this massive stone, which has come from Kadapa, some part of Andhra. Today, what is today? 12th of June. Tomorrow, 30th of June, I land up at the sculptor's place, Malur. Is the idol ready? 6 feet idol. The guy say, out of your head? Not possible, right? So the classic saying in English, he keeps chipping away. Just like that, in table topics or prepared speeches, more so in table topics, you want to reduce the crutch words, you got to keep chipping away. Slowly then, how the idol takes shape, your crutch words reduce. Yes, okay. Any other questions? Yes, Shreya.
Yes, so when I'm giving a speech or in table topics, I start and I fumble and I forgot the speech and I've taken a long pause. So how to recover from that and continue and make sure that the next part of the speech is proper and the ending is proper.
Table topics, no?
Table topics.
Or any speech for that matter. Okay, yeah. Happens to all of us. I always tell people who are sitting in the audience, visualize what you want to say. Because the mind goes blank public speaking. 30 pairs of eyes on you, you're seated, it's comfortable. You're standing here, it's very, very daunting. One technique, Shreya developers, visualize what you want to say. However nervous you are, you've forgotten the content, the pictures will never be erased from your mind. Simple, we'll do a quick check now, all of you in this room. Visualize a nice scene from your first, second, third standard. Okay, maybe for Bhavana S, he's a lot youngster, but everyone in the room, visualize a nice scene in your first, second or third standard. Don't go beyond the third standard. Nice, memorable, you look forward, was very happy, it gave you pleasant memories, you felt good. Okay, pause. Anyone would comfortable like to share? Yes, share, very kind of you.
I was on a beach with my family on a vacation.
Beach? Vacation with family. Okay, thank you. And if I may ask, share, was the first, second, third grade or?
It was around first or second.
First or second, very young. Okay, fine. Now, can you repeat the exact words? And who were you with? Parents or? Parents, I suppose. The exact words your parents told you. No, obviously not. No one, not you, share. No one can. That's the power of pictures. Even 10, 20 years down the line, Shreya would ask you this question, you'll bring back that picture by the beach, the waves rolling in, your parents, dad, mom this side, if you have a sibling, the color of the sand, stuff like that. But the exact words spoken, no way. Even a week later, a fortnight later, you might remember, but not a month, 2 months. So pictures, when you forget the content, I've told people sitting in as a part of the audience, when they go, I tried to tell Shamas also, visualize something. What you're doing in the tunnel, were you creeping in there, then crawling in there, you broke the tunnel, you came out, or some surprise, some tiger came to the tunnel, ridiculous things. When you start visualizing, then you convert those pictures into words, verbalize those images. You're back on track. Okay. Yes, our friend has raised the green card before now it's a football season. He raises the red card, I'll be in trouble. Yes, I'll take no further questions. So all my Madam President, not only Toastmasters, even the guests have come here, they've all champions in the making where they will, if not eradicate, they will reduce their crutch words dramatically. Wishing you all the best, take one step at a time and keep chipping away. Back to the
Destiny was on your side, sir, because you gave an impromptu education session, which became a double bonanza for us because it was crutch words, ended up also being one on impromptu speaking, and I hope everybody learned something today. So huge round of applause for DTM Vijay. Now it's finally time to piece our reality back together, and for that we have the general evaluation section. Our general evaluator for the day, that is the parent for today, is a sales executive or works in the sales department of a cyber security firm. And he tells me that he was born a natural left-hander, but in India, especially in certain customs, left hand is considered inauspicious. So he was eventually forced to become a right hand. But yeah, change his left hand into a right hand. But even today, after so many years, his brain signals his left hand to move every time he has to do something. Today as the general evaluator, he is going to guide us with his constructive feedback and evaluation and ensure by not trying to change the unique qualities in us as happened with him. So please put your hands together for the general evaluator for today, Toastmaster Alok.
My tall tales today started even before I entered the hall. I went to Imtiaz right next to this auditorium, and I asked for Karaval, and they gave me 2 spoonfuls and charged 150 rupees. I said, okay, today's tall tales. And it continued. Unfortunately, like most of you, I could keep my brain outside because I had to have part of me switch on for the meeting to this general evaluation session, but I hope I would go about evaluating this session with as much heart as brain and not be as critical as some of the other usual sessions that we have and have to be general evaluators there. Now we started off with Srinidhi. It was very nice to see a different face as our SAA today, great delivery, and very nice nuggets about our president as well. I would only suggest just have 1 or 2. There were too many for us to keep back for today. But for job well done, congratulations, Srinidhi. Great start to the meeting. The rest with new faces continued with Toastmaster Govind as our secretary. It was a great attempt to read out the minutes of the meeting without having to memorize. Keep at it. Good job, Govind. Congratulations on job well done. Amrith, I felt you were really relaxed today. I think the burden of being the president is slowly being lifted off your shoulders. We could see that you were chubby, you were relaxed, casual. My only suggestion is when you get on to telling a story for us, just don't say, let me tell you a story. Get on to it. Start with a story. We all know that is a story. Don't give us that bit of a hint. That's where it works well. Job well done again, Amrith. Congratulations. Our Toastmaster of the day today, Toastmaster Shivangi, I felt you blended your intellect with connect with the audience, and that is the most beautiful part of your entire session today as Toastmaster today. I like your absolute control of language, the audience engagement, the trivia that you brought, and I felt the cue cards that you had today were a good resource. They were not really evident, but they help you keep your one hand free while sticking to your notes. So I think most of your part was really well done. I thoroughly enjoyed the analogy about babysitters and everything while you introduced the tall tales today. The only feedback I have for you, I think you took us to a peak when you talked about the trivia and you talked about that analogy with Ramsey's Medley. But then when you talk about us embracing our inner child or the part about us being unhinged, I just felt that 30 seconds did not really connect with the audience because to Ramsey's Medley, maybe you should have just got out to our heads there. You could have saved 30 seconds and it could have also saved our attention. But you came back really well after that with the analogy of audience, babysitters and everything, so that was well done. And I felt the transitions were also good in between speakers. A job well done, congratulations and good Now, the context itself, I really felt the entire session was totally refreshing. A very good departure from what we usually do in the sessions. I just have 1 or 2 lines about each speaker. Like I said, this is just going to be me speaking from my heart about what went well in each of the speeches. Toastmaster Bhavana, it was an extremely vivid speech, a great start to the entire session with your energy. If I knew sending a picture of the Labrador would give me a date 10 years ago, things would have been different. Now, Abhinava can sing, and that's a revelation. We probably would look forward to some. Where is he? Okay. We look forward to you singing maybe the next couple of sessions as secretary. You come out to everyone, you could regale us with a song. But what I liked most was his self-deprecating humor. He said, the title here is me having a girlfriend. And that is very difficult to do. You cannot put yourself down in front of an audience and continue to do that speech. And it's the safest form of humor, but the most difficult aspect of humor is self-deprecating. Keep that up. And I like the the other part as well, where you talk about birds stopping to chirp, the traffic stopping, and then going RCB CSK. What a comparison! Stopping to debate. So again, some very relatable bits of humor in your speech. Now moving on, Debasish, you had us at anything for Basha. Honestly, and there was an element of horror, so that was the difference compared to the other speeches. You brought in this element of horror to humor, and your pauses were hilarious. I think the best element where the humor lands is the pauses. Okay, I already have the red card, great. And an excellent title there. Suraj, I think your connects are very powerful. We need to stay connected with you. Please find a way to end this war, because right? And the tone was so matter of fact. I think that's the best part of your speech. The tone was so matter of fact that we ended up believing it. Yeah. So keep that up and continue delivering more qualities for us. And Anirudh, I felt you had an experiential element to the entire speech with that picture. I was almost hoping at the end that you had a picture of the Photoshop with you there. So I was hoping with that included, but again, you brought in that element of experience to the entire qualities contest, and the geezer is on. I always remember that phrase. The geezer is on. So all in all, I think the participants gave wings to imagination with the qualities where it did end there, didn't it? We took that wings of imagination to the table topic session as well. My only concern was the Toastmaster Imtiaz, just be a little more mindful. I mean, I think you create a bit of an awkward moment when you're calling, right? So just be aware. This is small gathering, this is like a family, but when you're seeing on a bigger stage, you need to be mindful of these little elements. Apart from that, that's all we're done. We all talk about the topics that you gave us. So that was really good. It gave us an opportunity to stretch our imagination, but keep us grounded and we could deliver good table topic speeches. That brings to that brings an end to whatever I wanted to say as general evaluator. It was a beautiful evening with some really tall tales, and I hope we go out on a good note on this Friday evening. But before that, I have a duty with my tag team. With the tag team, the title that we have today for us, Toastmaster Sriharsha. Yes, he's already showed me the red card.
So for a meeting that was about to be about kids and unruly kids, it was pretty much in time. Most of the speakers were in time, very entertaining, very much in time. So were the table topics masters, they were not going above time. So I would like to say that I'm very much happy as a babysitter. So thank you.
That was very crisp, Toastmaster Sriharsha. Moving on, we have our company, Toastmaster Mahadeshwara.
So, most of the speakers spoke well. There was very few, very little use of R and filler words and crutch words. Toastmaster Bhavana and Toastmaster DT and Vijay never did not use any words or any filler or crutch words, and they did not have any pauses. That was a few others are Toastmaster Abhinava had a pause and one so and four ands. Toastmaster Suraj had 2 hours, one so and 3 ands. There was few others who used quite a lot of hours and filler and crutch words. With reference to them, I would suggest that they should prepare their speeches, and then they will be able to reduce the speak well.
Thank you, Nandeshwar. I think he just reiterated what we also heard from Toastmaster. Just keep practicing, our speeches will continue to get better. And And as the Grammarian for the day, we have Toastmaster Alan.
You know, it's a good meeting when the good usages outweigh the not so good usages. So some of the good usages today were diligent, connecting the dots, great beam of light, sprinkle her imagination, kick things off, cold damp basement, grappling timelines, uninhibited, unhinged, unleash, watching out for, reality bender, envision, mesmerized, lush green fields, keep chipping away, daunting. Now, the not so good usages, instead of given the context, runs in front of your eyes, could have been flashes before your eyes. Hide my afraid, should have been hide my fear. When I'll be going to office, should have been when I'm off to the office. Working in an Infosys should have been working in Infosys. Played a chess should have been played chess. The word of the day was used by 5 people, that is Amrith, Shivangi, Abhinava, Suraj, Anirudh. So great job, but I would challenge all of you, next time onwards, more of you can use the word of the day. And the next time the grammarian comes here, they could also entice you with a box of chocolates, so that's which grammarian to decide.
So that brings us to the end of the general evaluation session. Thank you so much to the RAP team, and we had an excellent education session as well. I think the best part about Toastmaster Vijay is he comes here, we have 4 bullets, easy takeaways for us to go home and start practicing right after, right? Thank you, Kumar. Thank you so much, Toastmaster Vijay, for the session. With that, it's time for me to say thank you to all of you. Just one piece of feedback. I think when we sent out the evaluation form for the toilets contest, the speakers were not in order. The first speaker should have been Toastmaster Bhavana, and her name should have been first name. So it becomes easier for us to connect the speaker to the speech and then answer. That's the only piece I have for the committee. Apart from that, it was a beautiful meeting. The passcode is 1206. Thanks to the BPE for making this a colossal effort, Grammarian Peace Corps, in organizing this third day's meeting for us today. And it's back to the Toastmaster.
Wrong.
1206.
This is the tall piece, right?
New session.
For a fun-filled Friday meeting, this was an amazing use of time of Friday evening. They say logic will take us from A to B, but imagination can take us everywhere. So I'll leave you all with that quote. I just want to mention that this tall tales was a voluntary option. We were asked to volunteer if we wanted to speak today. So it takes immense courage to volunteer, on our own. So I mean, let's have a huge round of applause for the speakers as well as all the role takers today. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful, memorable, fun-filled, stress-free weekend. Back to the president.
Thank you, Toastmaster Shivangi, and a big thank you and a big round of applause for all the speakers and role takers who came on stage today. Can we have a big round of applause? We have, in the last couple of terms, it has been a tall tale for the committee to end the meetings on time. I hope we will be able to achieve that today. And with that, while I'm waiting for the for the awards to be written, I just have a small suggestion and announcement for everyone, for the members. We all have been provided with an immense material, reading material by Toastmasters International. And it's a huge material where they have spent years, like over 100 years. So when you become a member, you get access to Toastmasters International, and you have access to a pathway. You select a pathway. So before every speech, I suggest you check your pathway and go through all the reading material you have access to. That will give you a lot of information about how to prepare your speeches and overcome the challenges that we face on day-to-day basis, which is either filler words or grammar or how to even prepare our speeches. Yeah? So check your pathways information, and if you need any help with that, the entire XCOM is available. You can always reach out to us. With that, we'll jump on to the awards. The best auxiliary role taker was taken by the person who has a colorful voice, Toastmaster Alan Arana. Best Role Taker Award goes to someone who made us kids and as well as babysitters today, Toastmaster Shivangi Bhatt. Best Table Topic Award goes to someone who told us, okay, we got the lesson that what not to say to our teenage kids. Distinguished Toastmaster Vijay. And our Best Speaker Award goes to someone who took us back to 70s. Toastmaster Abhinava Shastry. With that, I close the meeting number 1531. Thank you everyone. Guests, please meet Toastmaster Chandrasekhar for a brief